So, the fallout of Storm Babet has been devastating for thousands of people across the country, and on it goes. As many as 7 people are thought to have died in flood-related incidents, and of course many homes have been completely destroyed.
Now, residents in Retford were told to evacuate over the weekend because there was a danger to life. That was a flood warning in place, and one of those residents, Rob Hubbard, joins us now. Good morning to you, Rob.
Morning, Rob.
Good morning.
Look, how are you faring this morning? I know many other people in your street have had their homes flooded. You're watching the waters creep into your garden. You must feel like you're standing on a precipice, not knowing what next.
Yeah, you know, we've had a sleepless night, and you know we've been trying to keep an eye on things, and we've just heard that again we're going to get some rain on Tuesday or tomorrow, so we need to, you know, keep an eye out on things. And yeah,
This is totally, for you, unexpected. This has never happened to you before.
No, so we've only been here a year. We did know when we bought the house that we were buying on a floodplain, so we knew that this may happen. But yeah, it's unusual for me because I'd never experienced it.
Golly,
And is there anything at all that you can do to protect yourself? I mean, you see news pictures, don't you, at times like this, of people putting sandbags across the doors and across windowsills and stuff. Is there anything you can do at all? I mean, that's your garden we're seeing there. You know, you've got about 7 inches, 8 inches of water there. But is there anything practical you can do to protect yourself? Are you completely at the mercy of the water?
To be fair, we're at the mercy of the water. Yesterday, we were told we were going to get a second surge around between 8 and 10 o'clock. So, at the least, I put some sandbags up against the back patio door because that's where the water would hit first. And that's all we could have done.
Now, your garden is clearly flooded. What about your neighbours? I think some of their houses are actually underwater now, aren't they?
Yeah, well, across the road. So our house is sort of like built up on a raft because they were built after the terraced houses across the road. They're on a level ground, so what's happened is the water's just gone straight in. And a lot of them guys have had to move out, and they've got a bit of a road ahead of them to sort things out.
So you've only been there a year, but presumably you've chatted to residents that have been there longer. Have they told you that this is exceptional? Because it sounds like some measures were taken by building it up on a raft to prevent from flooding.
Yeah, well, so I've heard from some of the neighbours that this happened in 2007, and it didn't come up to this end of the street, so they've obviously looked at it and decided that, you know, they needed to put some bits and bobs in place. Over the back of the fence, there is about a 9-foot ditch that's been dug down just to alleviate some of the water.
Well, Rob, we will cross our fingers and everything else for you. We really hope that when the water rises again, which it is predicted to do, it doesn't do too much damage. But our thoughts are with you and with all your neighbours and everybody who's suffering, because it's the worst. It's just the worst, this kind of flooding. And it just leaves you, it just goes on and on and on.
Brilliant,
you know.
thank you.
Yeah, so we'll... Fingers crossed for you. Thanks very much for joining us. It's good of you. Thanks, and all our best to your wife as well. I know she didn't want to come on camera, but she's very upset. Thank you. All right, it's 7:58.
Should we talk to Alex, because he might have news on what the risks are in the coming days? We know the worst of the storm.
I mean, the worst of the storm is over, but as you saw from those pictures, the floodwaters are still there. They haven't receded in many places. And as we head through the course of this week, unfortunately, you know, as we just heard, there's going to be more rain, and that's going to be heading its way northwards overnight tonight and then through much of the daytime tomorrow. That rain is looking relatively heavy, and it's not going to take a lot of rain to exacerbate the problems. It's just going to get topped up. But, you know, there is literally nothing you can really do when you get a storm of this magnitude come through. No. Some places saw a month's worth of rainfall in just 24, 48 hours.
Well, I think Scotland saw, 6 months worth in a day?
Well, they've seen... the official stats are going to be released later on today. As you can appreciate, the Met Office have got a lot of work to do on this. But, they're, somewhere in Shephard had 2 months worth of rain in a couple of days. And when you get rain of that magnitude, there's not really a great deal you can do. The sandbags will prevent it for a short time, but ultimately the water is going to get in. But there could be, more warnings issued in the next few days. And that's why when we do talk about the warnings, please do listen to them, because they are very much needed and they will keep you as safe as possible.